Welcome back to Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. Roman Gabriel III, your host on another Saturday night as we get you ready. Sports never goes away, and we have a big weekend coming up. And, of course, as I always do before the end of the show, I'll set you up for what's on television, what you can look forward to tomorrow. And, of course, we got a lot going on with the National Football League with the current labor situation with the NBA. They've just locked out. We've got a lot of things to talk about, and my guest is coming in. I'm very excited to have him back. I've had him in before, and this guy was a two-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 21 and Super Bowl 25, arguably two of the better NFL football teams in history, especially that Super Bowl 21 team with the Giants. Mark Collins, safety, cornerback, played at Cal State Fullerton, had a great career, and he is in to join us. I think last time we were together was at the Super Bowl. Mark, how you doing, man?
Hey, Rumble, what's going on with you?
Hey, it is great to have you in as usual, and we need to also, of course, remember that Mark has a sports program also that he's on in Kansas City at 610sports.com, 3 p.m. Central Time out of Kansas City, and he also has his very worthwhile organization at the number 2 XChamps. XChampSports.com. That's 2XChampSports.com, where he's going to help you parents out there that have a youngster, whether it's a girl or boy, that's looking for athletic scholarships, some potential help there. And, of course, he's also involved with the military heavily, which we so appreciate his work and what he does with the military across the country. And, in fact, Mark, with July 4th last week, of course, we celebrated this great country and what our military does for us. And you were at Busch Stadium with a special time with the Army.
Yeah, Roman, let's back up just 1 second. I was at 610 Sports. I'm no longer there. So I jumped full force into my business, 2XChampSports.com. But, yes, I was in St. Louis, was invited by the U.S. Army Battalion in Kansas City, and St. Louis to participate in the appreciation, is a fan appreciation day at Busch Stadium. So I went from to St. Louis and had a great time there, and it was fantastic. You know, I'm all about the military service and what they do for us to keep our freedom, and it was a great honor to be there.
Mark, talk to people out there that obviously it's become so political, the war effort here in our country, but it's a much different conversation when you're around these guys because it's their job. We're in a country where we're fortunate enough and blessed that these guys volunteer to go over to places like Afghanistan and Iraq and put their lives on the line, and, of course, their wonderful families that support them and go through so much during that period. What is the current morale of these military people as you're around their families and around these people currently?
Well, it's all positive. I tell you, from what I've seen, and I go around the country speaking at the Yellow Ribbon events also, it's all positive. It's all upbeat, and it doesn't matter who sent us there. We're there to get our job done and come back home safely, and that's their mentality. On the family front, yes, the family members are worried, but they're positive, and I kind of associate it to when I was going to football camp, and even though I know there's differences because theirs is more life and death and mine is just a game, but I remember when I went to football camp, my mom and dad used to say, listen, you go do your job, we'll hold down the fort. And that's what, I say to the families whose loved ones are going out to fight. And I said, because they don't need to worry about that. You hold down the fort, they do what they do because they're the best trained, the second of God to do what they do. And they do a great job. And that gives them a lot of comfort. And they keep things on the home front pretty copacetic.
Mark Collins, former Super Bowl champion, New York Giants, is our guest. And, of course, you want to follow Mark. He's on Facebook. He always seems to do a great job of updating on what's happening not only with his business but also in his charitable efforts and his relationships. So get on with Mark at Facebook if you want to find out what he's doing. Mark, one of the things about the military that I find interesting is here a couple of weeks ago, President Obama made an announcement about beginning to pull out the troops of Afghanistan here in the next year. Is that something that these guys talk about much of their families in terms of all the minutiae and a change in leadership and maybe a change in strategy? And is there opinions by these guys on whether we should be doing this or whether we should be staying longer?
Well, it's great you asked that question, Roman, because I was just down at the Kansas City Battalion here in Kansas City just yesterday, and I asked that same question. And it's amazing the response and the answer I got. They were telling me, we don't even know. We don't even care. We're there to do our job. Well, I'll be in Afghanistan doing different deals, and I'm coming home whenever my president or my country tells me to come home. So, which I found fascinating. Now, if I spoke to a family member, I'm pretty sure they would go, I can't wait for them to come home. But the men and women who are serving in the armed forces, that's the furthest thing from their mind. They want to go there, do their job, and whenever the president or the rest of the country says come home, then they'll come home. Fascinating answer I got.
Mark Collins, our special guest on Sold Out Sports Talk and AFR Talk. Of course, you can join us right here, 8 o'clock Eastern, every Saturday night as we bring you faith, family, and sports. And this guy's a perfect portrayal of that. He's a guy that not only was exemplary on the field, but he's carrying on his responsibilities and using his talents and abilities and his platform now to not only impact young people but families, encouraging the military. And last time we spoke back at the Super Bowl in Dallas, Mark, we were talking about, the impending NFL labor situation. Has this played out, this NFL labor situation, like you thought it would, in terms of they're talking now about a possibility of having this thing, some sort of agreement come together here in the next 7 to 10 days?
Well, yeah, of course, Roman. We spoke about this a while ago. We knew that come July, my drop dead date was July 15th, because anytime after that, that's when people start losing money, players and owners. So they know that too. So all this other stuff in between January, February, into pretty much present, you kind of saw it happening. No one's losing money. The players going to go out there, have their fun, and try to do other things to get media attention to them. And the owners knew at some point before July 15th, they got to make a decision. So any day after July 15th, a lot of people will start losing money. Whenever it comes to revenue being lost, especially on the owner side, because they have a lot more to lose than the players, then some will get done.
Now, we'd be remiss not to talk about a fellow NFL player, a part of the fraternity, Hall of Famer John Mackey, one of the great tight ends of all time that earlier this week passed away from dementia. John Mackey was involved early as the president of the Players Association back in 1970 after the merger of the two leagues, the AFL and the NFL. He also was instrumental in 1977 with other guys like John Riggins, Al Davis, and others in terms of getting players more rights and more opportunities, because back then basically the owners controlled the way things were done. But one of the things that I find interesting is the coincidence of his death with the lawsuit that's been launched by former players, pre-1993 players in Minnesota, suing for an opportunity to get to the table with the owners and players right now to be heard. Your opinion on that and on John Mackey?
Well, first of all, my condolences go to the Mackey family. Yes, he was very instrumental in a lot of things that's going on in the National Football League now, as far as the retirements and the new what was it, the Mackey? I forget the name of it.
The Mackey Award. They gave for the best college tight end.
Also, for the retirement players, it's called the 88. Plan 88 after him for a lot of medical stuff like hip replacement and all that, which is great. But I tell you, with the lawsuit and all this other stuff that's going on, yes, I believe that a lot of the players before my time should have a say at the table with the owners. To lock them and us out. To be honest, I'm part of that now too. It's a travesty. Now, I think the owners and the league should do the right thing. I mean, by all means, do the right thing. It's the same as, when our troops come home from the military service. I think it's an obligation and a right for our country to take care of our troops who fought for our freedom. And this, I'm not trying to compare the two, but there's a lot of money being made in the National Football League from the backs of those guys who played in the National Football League. And for them not to be taken care of for the rest of their lives, and they have medical benefits for the rest of their lives, is a travesty. That's my opinion.
Mark Collins, our special guest on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. Mark, of course, played in the NFL, was a member of that New York Giants Super Bowl team, 87, and then again in 91, a two-time Super Bowl champ, played with the Chiefs as well. And, of course, that's where he lives with him and his family. And one of the things, Mark, that tears me up about this whole situation is you and I both know Mike Ditka and his heart and his passion to help the players in their current situations, not only raising money through the Mike Ditka Foundation, Gridiron Greats, but also offering work opportunities for these guys and other ways in which he can support these down-and-out guys. And for the fans out there that don't know about that, a lot of these people think, well, they look at the players today and you see the number one draft pick signing for $50 million before they ever play. You see a lot of these huge contracts in the world of sports today, but that really wasn't existing, as much in the 70s and 80s. And my dad's best contract in 1972 and 73 was $300,000, which at that time was a lot of money, but not in comparison to today. And people can't understand. Well, these guys played in the NFL. They should have plenty of money. Why are they struggling so much? But if you could, for our fans out there that are NFL fans, what is the prerequisite for what you have to do to qualify for pension and for health benefits, and how long does that last in the current situation we're in?
Well, based on the old CBA, you become eligible to be vested for your pension after 3 years. And after 3 years, you could get your pension up to X amount of years in the league. And just recently with the old CBA, because the new one hasn't been done yet, you can start taking from your retirement. If you have vested years before 1993, you can take your pension, your retirement, at age 45. Anytime after that, it's 55 or 65. So with all this changing now, a lot of things are going to happen, and we really don't know where it's going to go. But to talk about what people think that every NFL player in the past must be rich for the rest of their lives, it doesn't happen that way. We as former players, we start at the top of the salary structure and work us down as we get older. Where in the regular world, people start at the bottom and work themselves up financially. Do you always keep your money? No. I know a lot of people who were bank CEOs who had millions of dollars and lost it all. But that happens. And the Bible says, money's not. You can have all the money in the world, but money doesn't make you happy. And that's how it is. Money doesn't revolve. The world doesn't revolve around money. So it happens. You make your money, you lose your money. You make your money, you spend your money, you take care of the other stuff. But on the bigger picture, no one's making tons of millions of dollars like they do now.
Mark, hold on 1 second. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk to Mark more about this situation and a couple of current problems with this lockout that people don't realize. When we come back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk.